Of ILR1 on the PS4 here from the Bahrain International Circuit. It was an absolutely thrilling race last time out in Melbourne, and once again I've got the pleasure of being joined by Ali Monda in the commentary box. Ali Monda, it's going to be another cracking race, isn't it?
Yes, well, we've gone away from the confines of the Melbourne street circuit. Plenty of friendly runoff areas here, and hopefully a few less incidents after some of the shenanigans we saw last week in Australia.
Yeah, it was action-packed to say the least. There was a few issues from time to time. A lot of cars, with three separate incidents where three cars were involved in accidents. So hopefully we'll have a little bit less than that. But at the same time, there was plenty of good stuff out there on the racetrack as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ash Best made the perfect start to the season, just kept it clean and earned the race victory for Renault. So yes, while the incidents were big talking points, there were some fantastic battles, particularly at the front of the field. There was like 3 or 4-way battle for the lead at one point.
Yeah, it sure was. And it's going to be another cracking race here in Bahrain. I mean, it was topsy-turvy from start to finish last time out. We didn't know who was going to take that victory, but maybe today in Bahrain we can start to have a form book emerging as to who might be the quickest, who might be the slowest. We obviously know the likes of Lewis. We know what he's like, we know what his pace is like, we know he is the champion, and the horrible weekend they endured last week that we're looking to put right here. So what will happen? We will wait and see. What will we see in terms of tyre choice as well? Because it's quite an interesting one, this one, for strategy. Will we see the super softs? Will we see the softs in qualifying? I tend to believe people will go out early on super softs, not set anything representative, and then leave it late and go on to the soft compound later on. That seemed to be the case on ILR on Friday night on Xbox. Do you think that'll be the same case here?
Yes, I believe so. I mean, just as it was in 2016 and 2017, Bahrain is very harsh on its tyres. So I think starting on the super softs will leave you out of step in terms of strategy. Don't think, given the pit stop loss here, which is over 20 seconds, you can make a two-stop work here without
Yeah, absolutely. We will wait and see how it works. I mean, everyone believes that the soft and the medium tyres are the better tyres, that the super soft is almost like a qualifying tyre. I mean, that's not to say you can't use it. It's possible to go super soft onto medium, but you really would need to be so gentle on your tyres during qualifying, and it is by quite a margin slower than the soft compound. I mean, some people might go for glory and try and stick it on the front row and race on from there. We saw out on Friday night how badly it went for the two Red Bulls of Tyrrell Martin and Veloci Limitless on Friday night by starting in the softs, being stuck in the middle of the field, and they really struggled. So there's every possibility that some drivers might decide, okay, I want to be up the front, stay away from any trouble, because we saw last week just how much trouble there was in the midfield, and we'll be hoping to put that right. I mean, we need to see how those two Alfa Romeo Saubers getting on as well, won't we? Because they really did look incredibly quick until they ran into their issues last week, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, they were showing excellent pace, but then, yeah, they just sort of fell apart, really, as the race wore on. And, well, Lewis, the reigning champion, his season starts here, doesn't it? I mean, he had that brake-by-wire issue last week, and Christian Horner assures that the problem's been fixed, so hopefully he'll be able to go out there and show the grid what he can do.
Yep, the world champion, of course, was the man that was on the feature of the hot lap this week, so if you haven't seen that, be sure to go and check out his lap time, which I believe was a world record around Bahrain on time trial, a 125 flat. Obviously we won't do a 25 flat online, as VSR Blizzard has somewhere picked up a 5-place grid penalty for illegal blocking. I haven't seen it, but I'm riding on board with Zoom at the moment. Yet to put a time on the board, but I'm sure he's going to do that right now. Interestingly though, a lot of drivers have set representative times on the super soft compound, which is something I didn't expect, it has to be said.
Yeah, I mean, the top 10 pretty much straight off the bat, fairly representative times. Just going back to Blizzard, he ran out of fuel on the way back to the pits, and I think he accidentally blocked the car. So, if he finishes this session second place, that's costly. He's going to lose 5 places for the start of the race.
Yeah, absolutely not what Blizzard wants at all. As Zoom crosses the line and goes third quickest, a 1 minute 26.0. So a good effort there from Zoom. He goes second. In behind the two McLarens, Killerzone and Blizzard, but of course Blizzard, we believe, with that 5-place penalty. So that's a bit harsh, you could argue. Oh, pardon me, sorry. But did it look as if he was blocking him quite considerably when he was out of fuel? Was he on the racing line? I didn't see it.
Well, there's some angry team radio from the Williams driver Francis, who is, you know, screaming to Charlie Whiting that he was illegally blocked by Blizzard. Whether that's true or not, we'll have to leave up to the stewards to decide. But, you know, if that's the case, then it's a bit of an own goal by Blizzard there to do that.
Yep, absolutely. We'll see how it goes for him. I'm watching CC Brain now on his outlap. Will he go on to do the lap, complete it? I have to say, this is something that will suit Cliffy quite a lot, won't it? He's always been a fan of going on the harder compound, so this won't be out of his comfort zone or strange or different to Cliffy as it might be for the rest of the field, going on the softest compound and doing a qualifying lap. The good news for Cliffy is he tends to do that quite often, doesn't he? We've seen him come through the field on many occasions by doing this.
Yeah, Cliffy really is Mr. Alternate Strategy, isn't he? Pretty much every race I see him, I very rarely see him in the top 10, but it doesn't seem to stop him from getting great results. It just seems to have a real sense of what the strategy is going to be, because more often than not, he comes from outside the top 10, then ends up in the top 4 most of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see how he goes. I mean, another advantage about this game, I suppose, is you can push on the super soft tyres if you're going onto the softs later on. If you just turn your ERS off and then push, and then so you're only losing time when you're not on the throttle, it gives you a chance to dial yourself in. And it looks like some of the drivers, the likes of Lewis, Bugatti, LMC Hamilton, Matt, Calic, they've all maybe done that. They've all done a lap, gone as hard as they can in the corners to dial themselves in for that run in the softs, but maybe just turn the ERS down. That's quite a smart thing to do, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is, because of the way the qualifying sets up on this particular title, the limited amounts of soft tyres are available to them, so they have to get that one soft one right.
Yeah, absolutely. 3 super softs and 1 set of softs is all they have in that garage. So it's all about one run at the end of the session. So interestingly, I don't think the likes of Killerzone and Blizzard are going to be beaten by anyone on the softs. It would take something special if they did do that. We'll have to wait and see. But was that a car off the road there? Did I see one of the someone off the road at the final corner? Was that one of the Force Indias I see? I think it was, but I was just going slowly. It was TTG Pro. Goodness me, that's going to be difficult to pronounce over the course of the season, is it not? We'll just call him Pro, I think. But he's gone P6 at the moment. It's Killerzone on top, it's a Blizzard in second, Zoom is third, gone in N4, no wet fifth, and interestingly, Lewis is out there on the soft compound tyre, and I have to say, that's relatively early, is it not? Is he out there? No, his best time is on the soft, so Lewis did his best time on the soft compound tyre, so, and it was a 26.9, so that suggests to me that Lewis is going to try and qualify on the supers then.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's not the only driver either who's done that. But yeah, there was a lot of traffic in Sector 2 and a few cars got caught up in it and, you know, had to scrub off their laps. So, yeah, it's going to be quite tense at the end if everybody decides to come out at the same time. It's going to be, you know, everyone's going to have to maybe sprint and take a bit more life out of the tyre to get some track position before their final qualifying runs.
Absolutely. Well, that's what we saw on Friday night, and it's 20 cars all running out to get on the lap, and some of them were blocked, some of them weren't. That's just the nature of it. You've got 18 minutes to find the time to do a lap, but you've only got one run on the desired tyre. You're going to leave it right to the end, aren't you? Because of course track evolution is so crucial these days. Over the 18 minutes it really does improve quite dramatically, as Cliffy is now out there start a lap on that soft compound tyre. So he's doing it early. He doesn't want to be involved in any traffic, does Cliffy? So he's going to take that disadvantage of not being on the track at the best time, but he's going to try and get he's going to lose the rear end there on the way up the hill through 2 and 3, and he might actually abandon this lap and slow down and go on the next run, but I think he's going to continue pushing. So Cliffy, a few errors there, he's up against it. Is he going to carry on? Is he still in a quick one? I'm not so sure. I think he is still pushing it out. No, he's not. He's half throttle. Yeah, he's eased out.
Yeah, the car just didn't look. It didn't look like the tyres were up to temperature as soon as he came out of the first corner. It just looked very slidey on the front. So yeah, he's definitely backed out of it completely. Yep.
Well, Cliffy, maybe he'll have another run in a few moments' time, but he's one of the first guys out there on the soft compound at the moment. So he's out on the softs. Matt Tibos is out there on the softs, and Matt Tibos is actually coming towards the end of the lap on his soft tyre run. So where can he go? Can he get into the 26s? A mid 26 is probably where you'd want to be. Matt Tibos coming across the line. What can he do? It looks not the best, a 27.2, and that is his soft run done for the session. Will he decide to go out there on a set of super softs? I mean, the thing is, if you're not really the kind of driver that's going to qualify in the top 10 anyway, Alimondo, you might as well go out on super softs and use them if you don't think you're going to be there anyway.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. But yeah, I'm quite taken aback by how many people are actually on the super softs.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, the information you would get from watching the Xbox League. You know, obviously the control method is different, but in terms of the tyre wear and the, you know, the strategy, there isn't that much between the two consoles. So I'm surprised more of them haven't really sort of done their research, so to speak. But hey, it's going to make it a very interesting race with this very varied strategies we're seeing between the top 10 and those outside the top 10.
Yeah, we're going to see some very early pit stops from those on the super softs, I believe. It has to be said, but it looks to me like Ash is now gone out with 5 minutes to go, the championship leader, on a set of super softs, which seems a bit strange given that he's waited this long in the session to do a lap and then all of a sudden go out in the super soft. Surely that's a mistake there from Ash. Why would he do that? That just doesn't make sense.
Well, it could be a bluff. I mean, if he comes around and just pulls straight back into the pits, then maybe he's trying to tempt some other people to go out there. But yeah, 5 minutes to go for the session, or perhaps, you know, he won the race last week. Maybe he feels like he's got those points in the bag and has slightly less to lose with some of his rivals. So maybe he wants the glory of getting pole position, which he's certainly more than capable of getting.
Yeah, we'll see how he gets on. I believe he started 6th last week. Was that correct? Around 5th or 6th on the grid was Ash. On the grid, it was quite high up.
Yes. Yeah, definitely row 3, I believe it was.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, he won from there, so he could probably win from further down as well. But he might go for the pole, or he might, as you say, be bluffing to try and tempt others out. I tell you, 2 drivers who haven't been tempted out at all yet. That's Liquid Blocks and CC Brain. They're in the pits, and the tyres on their car in the pits are the soft tyres, and Liquid Blocks is pulling out now as we watch Cliffy come round the final corner, and he's coming in. So Cliffy is bailing out of his soft run, and he's not going to get a representative time on them at all, and maybe he now is considering a run on a set of super soft tyres. So very interesting there to see how that goes. But look at that, 11 cars in the pits with 4 minutes to go. I have to say, I think the majority of them are about to switch onto a set of soft compound tyres.
Yeah, I think so. But those who, I mean, if those in the top 5 are switching to softs, it's going to be a really tall order to beat their super soft times. In fact, almost nigh impossible to do that. Ashbest, as I kind of suspected, he did go straight back into the pits, so I think he is going to switch to a set of softs and come out, and indeed that's what he's done. He has switched to softs in the pits, and he's going to come out shortly. Yep,
Lewis has done the same. He's gone out there on a set of super softs and come straight back into the pits. That 26.9 that he's done on the soft compound tyre, I don't expect him to come back out again, unless he thinks he can go quicker on that set of softs and take the risk of putting a little bit more life on them. So we'll see what Lewis chooses to do, but the majority of the field just waiting to blink. But as you say, Alexander, the top, 6, 7, 8 cars, if that's what they can do in super softs, they're going to struggle to meet their time on softs. So why be in the pits anyway? You might as well come out and go quicker on super softs. It's very strange, totally different to what we saw on Xbox.
Yeah, but if you're up there in the top 10 already and you have no chance of being these, with the softs, you may as well go for track position, get as high up the grid as possible, maybe avoid some of the, carbon fibre flying at turn 1, which we might see, because it is a very tough braking zone, to judge here.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see as Lickle Blocks is the first man starting a representative lap on the soft compound tyre. LMC Hamilton might be another one actually, he's not on it yet, but he's about to start one. But we'll keep an eye on Lickle Blocks at the moment, another man who had been hoping for a strong result last week. It didn't quite work out, involved in a few incidents, but he's currently down in 19th at the moment without the time of the board. It really is now or never for Lickle Blocks. He might have enough fuel to do a second lap. Should he make a mess of this one, he will have enough time actually, it will be touch and go. So we'll see what happens for Lickle Blocks. He should have enough time to do another one, but he's coming up the hill towards the end of that second sector, climbing up into turns 12 and 13, and he's got Plex right in front of him and just about gets out of the way in time. So Lickle Blocks down the back straight towards turn 14 and 15, the two final corners on the racetrack. Turn 14, heavy stopping into that right-hander. 15 isn't really a corner as you're out on the exit curb. So across the line comes Lickle Block to put the first representative soft tyre time on the board, and he's gone 10th fastest, a 1:26.5. So let's be honest, I think he's not going to be in the top 10 anyway to qualify in those, and he'll probably get knocked out of the top 10, and he can pick any tyre he wants, I would think.
Yes, I mean, looking at the tyres fitted, all of the top 9 are on the super softs. and then Francis, Lewis and Bugatti all on the super softs as well. But I suspect one of the Red Bulls at least might back out when they see the times going up. They might think, okay, maybe we'll go for the ultimate strategy.
We'll have to wait and see. Killerzone is out there on the lap, so we'll have to keep an eye. Actually, I was expecting to be keeping an eye on the guys on softs, but I think we're going to have to keep an eye on the battle for pole, because although it might not end up in a victory, because as we've mentioned, the super soft is not the desired race tyre, it's important we cover that and we deal with what's happening with the soft runners later on, because at the moment none of them that have gone out there on softs look like they're going to make it into the top 10. We still wait on Ash and CC Brain. CC Brain's only gone 17th on his softs. Ash has yet to do a time, so let's keep an eye on Gran then coming towards the end of the lap. It's still two McLarens on the front row, but Blizzard picked up a 5-place grid penalty. Nowek is currently third, but let's watch Gran come across the line. Can he take? No, he can't. That was a lot of lag there. He's gone out there on a lap at the moment, going quickly. A couple of going again. No, he's backed out of it. There's a lot of lag in my screen here, unfortunately. Who we got out there on a quick lap? You seen anyone on that?
Well, both Renaults are doing soft runs at the moment, and they're the only team collectively who are doing that. The rest are a mixture, most on the super softs. Well, we got the likes of Joom, both TTG drivers, especially TG. Poe is about to reach the end of his lap.
Poe's about to reach the end of this lap. We'll go to that as Blizzard goes quicker than Killerzone for what it's worth, as Poe heads across the line and he goes P3. A good effort there from the Force India man. A 1:25.8, a 10th between the top three drivers. Blizzard, of course, though, has a 5-place grid penalty. What about Nowek coming across the line? Where does he go? He stays P4, a 1:25.9, 1.5 tenths shy of the pole time. Who else is out there on a quick lap? Joom into turn 14. He goes now. Gone in the tyres. 5th at best for him. Joom round the final corner, currently P6, picking up a toe from Ash Best, and Joom goes on pole by a very small margin indeed. The Alfa Romeo silver driver takes top spot and Lewis smashes him, a 1:25.6 from Lewis, and he's surely snatched a late pole here. Only Killerzone can really do anything about him, and he's being blocked a little bit in the final corner by Kalik. Up to the line comes Killerzone. Can he put that car on pole? No, he can't. 25.7. He goes third. It's very, very, very close between the top 5 or 6 runners, but it's VSR Lewis in the end with the pole. 1:25.6, but crucially on those super softs, and I can't wait to see how this plays out in the race, Ali Manda.
Oh, I mean, what an aggressive qualifying session that was. I mean, no one's wanting to go for the safe strategy. I think everyone wants a great motor race today, regardless of how it works out in the strategy, and that could be great entertainment for everybody here today.
Yep, well, there it is. VSR Lewis puts the Aston Martin Red Bull racing car on pole with a 1:25.665, just a 10th quicker than Joom in second. Joom thought he had it. Lewis stole it right at the death. Killerzone, he was on the front row with Blizzard for so long in that session, he ended up P3. Blizzard was P4, but he has a 5-place grid penalty for blocking, so he will drop down. TTGB Poe is 5th, Nowek is 6th, Lambo 7th, Gran 8th, Bugatti 9th, and Francis 10th. Then it gets interesting, 11th place for Frisky CJ. He's the first man that gets free choice of tyres, and he'll be looking pretty good from there, it has to be said. And oh, have I disconnected? I think I have. Have you disconnected? It says I've not. There's not enough players in the lobby for some reason. I think.
No, I'm in.
But it's, what? It's taking me back to the lobby.
Okay.
Why is it doing that?
That's not good. That would indicate a desync. But yeah, try and rejoin. Can you?
Yeah, I'm just rejoining right now. But that was very strange. I've never experienced that. Just put me back in the lobby, and then it just said back in the lobby. Oh, right, okay. They're not going to watch the race. That was very strange.
When we go into formation. Oh, hang on a minute. It is taking quite a while to load. So.
Well, I've rejoined now, and this is the second successive week we're going to have an issue here with the lobby, because I think it was this tier last week that had this problem, wasn't it?
Yes, I mean I'm getting the sense that since the last patch the formation lap might be a bit broken, so because these issues seem to only. Oh, here we go.
Oh well, thankfully.
I'm getting a formation lap. What about you?
Yep, so am I. a very laggy one, but I'm getting one, and yep, they're all pulling away from the grid, so a big sigh of relief. But I think this is going to be a huge desync here. I think we could be heading for a desync. I'm not going to lie, just with the way things are looking on my screen at the moment. Hopefully we don't, but it doesn't look very good, does it?
Yeah, where are the cars on your screen at the moment? They in turn 4. The Red Bull's just going through turn 4 now.
No, yes, going into the apex of turn 4. But it's the matter is like it's just a timing screen on the left hand side. Like some of them don't have timing screens and stuff. I don't know, that's what's worrying me. I don't know if that would associate with anything. Like Francis and Liquor Blocks, they don't actually have a time gap interval. If you know what I mean. Have you got the same thing?
I have the same thing. Yes.
We'll see what happens then. Hopefully it's not too bad, but. Yep, well, hopefully it's okay. We'll keep an eye on it, but let's just run it through again. Lewis on pole, Hume second, Kills on third, Poe is now fourth, Nowak fifth, Lambo sixth, seventh for Conan, eighth for Bagani, and as a result of that penalty, Blizzard drops to ninth, Francis is 10th, and then this is where it gets interesting. Everyone except Matt Tibos in P18 have elected for the soft compound tyre, and Matt has gone for the medium, trying something different. And you never know, you try something different like that, a safety car comes at the right time on that late in that medium stint, you've won a watch. And Matt Tibos doesn't feel he's got the pace, and maybe he's wanted to try something different, which is fair enough, isn't it?
Yes, well, you know, the medium's not a bad race tyre here, under the lights. No rain to worry about, of course. So yes, I mean, there have been certain situations where someone going on the longest strategy in terms of the hardest compound can get lucky with safety car and suddenly be in position to win the race. So, you know, from 18th position on the grid, why not try something different and see what happens? Yeah,
we will wait and see how it goes. I'm just looking at my timing on the right hand side, the left hand side here. It's got Lickle Blocks 5.8 behind the leader, and everyone else, oh goodness me, I think Lickle Blocks' car might be in a desync situation here, Cliffy maybe as well. Hopefully not, we'll wait and see. But the cars are on the grid, heading for the start. Hopefully they all move away at the exact same time and we don't have one of those jump starts that we've seen before all these patches came out on a lot of social races. We'll find out though as the 5 red lights are about to come on. It's Lewis on pole, it's Hume alongside the top 10 on the super soft tyre, which we believe is not desirable. It's not the ideal choice. Can someone come charging through from outside the top 10 and take a storming victory? We will find out as the 5 red lights come on and we get ready to go racing. Here they come. Here we go, the 5 red lights are on, and when they go out, we'll be racing under the lights in Bahrain. Now, Lewis leads from pole, Hume alongside on the long run down towards turn 1. Lewis comes across Hume as he hits the brakes for the first corner and should hold on to his lead. It's Lewis in the lead, Hume second, Killer's on third, and Nowak fourth as they climb the hill, Alimonda.
Oh yes, oh, and we got a Toro Rosso off at the back, and I think that's Novak. Novak has spun on the left-hand side, and he's dropped all the way back to the back of the field. Oh, that's desperate bad luck for Novak.
Yep, Novak dropping down, and he was on the super soft tyre. He was in the top 10, so a disastrous start time as Paul picks up a 5-second stop-go penalty for corner cutting and gaining a place. But it's VSR Lewis in the lead at the moment. Hume is second, and we've got more issues further down the field, don't we? What is happening there? Oh, look at that, we're nearly 4 wide, further down the field, 3 wide, going into 9 and 10. Goodness me, that is close. Lickle Blocks, Conan and Francis all battling in Blizzard 2, and Blizzard's losing more places, having started down in P9, he's now P11, but 3 wide going down towards turn 11. Who's going to have the upper hand? It looks like it's me in P10 as we get a huge spike of lag there, and dropping down as it's me to P13 now. Had the inside, looked like he was going to be gaining a few places there. In the end, he drops back to P13, but all sorts of action happening in the middle of the field at the moment, Alimonda.
Yes, I mean, that penalty for Blizzard, it might prove so costly for him, because he would have started further up the grid, but now he's in this midfield mayhem. He's being overtaken left, right and centre. He's already lost a few places and he's not on the optimum tyre. We've already got people into the pits, so I think we've got wing damage already. Gernan and Francis into the pit lane to get a replacement wing.
Yep, Gran and Francis in the pits already. His best dies up the inside of Lickle Blocks in a turn 1. 2 drivers on soft compound tyres. That is very important for this race. They're side by side as they run their way up the hill. Lickle and Ash, and then Blizzard finally getting a chance to breathe. He's coming back at them. He's been doing all the defending early on. Now he's attacking. He's boxed in though, and he won't find a way through there. Lickle Blocks 8, Ash 9, and Blizzard in P10 as they swoop down the hill through 5, 6 and 7 into the first of 2 heavy braking zones of 8 then the one of turn 9 at the moment, and Blizzard diving up the inside, uses that braking zone as a chance to outbrake Ash, and I think he's got it done. Lovely move by him, but Ash, he won't give it up. He knows he needs to stay close to the likes of Liquid Blocks as they're on the same strategy, and Ash dives back through into turn 10 and holds on to that P9 at the moment. But look at this, Blizzard coming back again, a real ding-dong scrap between the pair as Blizzard looks up the inside into turn 11. Ash continues his charge round the outside, he tries a limitless, but Blizzard might have watched that video from earlier on in the weekend on Xbox, so he's not going to let someone drive around the outside of him, and Ash Best is forced off the road and drops to P10. Hard but fair, I would argue. Would you agree with that, Alejandro?
Absolutely. A great battle between the McLaren and Renault driver, but, you know, it's lost them a lot of time. I mean, you know, the gap between 7th and 8th is already quite considerable. Trying to put pressure on Lewis just sets the fastest lap of the race, so with DRS is now activated.
Yep, DRS activated at long last, and there's been plenty of action already. Do we even need the DRS? And as it looks like, there's a move here from Cliffy, having a look up the inside of It's Me into turn 1. He can't do it. It's Me then breaks hard as he and Ash nearly cross lines, but thankfully no damage done there, and Cliffy follows in behind that. So at the moment, Lewis still in the lead from Killerzone second, Zoom in third, Pole is fourth. But the lead car on the soft compound tyre at the moment is Plex, and he's up to P7, so he must have had a storming start. Let's have a quick look. How many places has he gained early on? He must have gained quite a few. Plex is up 7 places already, so that's a superb effort from him as we watch Cliffy go side by side with LMC Hamilton as they run down towards the turn 9 and 10, and LMC Hamilton is ahead of Cliffy. Oh, and they're rubbing wheels, but I think Hamilton has got the jump there. But soon we're going to have to go back to the guys at the front because Killerzone is right behind Lewis, and with the DRS active, he could be a sitting duck, couldn't he?
A prime position at the moment is Pletix in 7th position. He is the highest soft running car at the moment. Liquid Blocks under pressure from Blizzard just behind them. But yeah, if Pletix just plays his card right and waits for the super soft runners to die off, he could be in position to win this race.
Yep, absolutely. I get the impression early doors that this field, the races are so crazy that anyone can win at any moment. I really get that impression early on in this season as Killerzone looks up the inside of Lewis in a turn 1, thinks better of it, and stays tucked right up behind him. Plex will start to catch those top 6 runners pretty soon, won't he, on those softs, because they will become the better tyre than those super softs as they wear out, as Liquid Blocks gets really close to the back of VSR Blizzard. And was it Blizzard just got through there on Liquid?
He has indeed, yep. Fairly routine DRS move. Liquid didn't really have much answer to it, but you know, he's playing the long game on his strategy. KB Killer getting close into turn 4, but Lewis, you know, fairly comfortable, didn't feel the need to be defensive, but just looking at Bugatti, his super softs don't look too good, so I think we are getting signs that maybe some of the drivers on super softs pushing a little bit too hard. They've got to stretch these tyres out a bit longer, otherwise the one stop may be beyond them, even with the mediums.
Yep, we'll need to go to around lap 6, 7, maybe even 8 to make sure we get to the end comfortably. The likes of VSR Lewis, he will be in a lot of trouble because he is a pad user. I don't know how many of this field use pads, how many of this field use wheels. I believe quite a few of them will be on pads, and it will make it extremely difficult to make that one-stop work if you pit early on those super soft tyres. So the ideal strategy for a pad user here would 100% be softs and mediums, I would have thought, and to be honest, it's the ideal strategy no matter what you're on. So it makes it even more puzzling why so many drivers decided to go onto the super soft tyre. But heading across the line anyway, and Killerzone is right up behind Lewis this time as he runs down to turn 1. Is he going to try and have a look up the inside? He's going to sweep to the outside. He's going to try and outbrake the Red Bull into the first corner. He can't quite do it. What about on the exit? Can he switch back on Lewis? It doesn't look like it, and it remains tucked up behind him in P2. Lewis covers the inside of turn 4. Can Killerzone go right round the outside? No, he won't, because Lewis has came back to the middle of the road and denied him that opportunity. Meanwhile, Plexits is making real progress here. He's gone past Bugatti, and I would imagine he's made light work of him.
Yeah, but I mentioned Bugatti earlier. His tyres seem to be going off a bit quicker than the other cars on the super softs in front of him. Yeah, he's been overtaken by Pletix. So Pletix, you know, he is only a few seconds down the road from the leaders. So, you know, again, just stay out of trouble. and he could be there for the race win at the end. But KB Killer looks a bit faster at this moment in time.
Yeah, he does. He's all over the back of Lewis, and he's surely this time going to make the move. He's got the DRS open. He sweeps round the outside into turn 11. Easy move there for Killerzone, and Lewis, the world champion, is overtaken here, and his chances of the victory are slowly slipping away. All these guys on the Supersofts are slowly starting to realise that they may have made an error. Zoom is gone ahead of TG. Was that Lag there? He was already ahead of him, was he not? I thought he was.
Yes, he was.
I don't know what that was about. So, yeah, Killerzone moving up into the lead of the Grand Prix and seemingly looking after his tyres far better than the reigning world champion Lewis, who drops to P2. But Poe is right on the back of Zoom now, isn't he? 2 tenths between them. The only problem for Poe though is that Zoom will also have the DRS to the car in front, so finding a way through won't be easy. But he tries to outbrake Zoom, he tries to fluster him by moving off the racing line, but there's no way through. And I think we should go back to Lickle Vlogs, who's diving down the outside of Blizzard into turn 1. Blizzard will not give that up easily, and they're touching wheels. Goodness me, that was close. And now Ash may have damaged the wing. Did he hit the back of Blizzard? I don't think he did. Or if he did, he didn't get any damage. Quite lucky. And now he has a look up the inside and makes that new stick. Locks up. Nearly clips the back of Lickle. And somehow Blizzard is still in front.
Yes, made more contact. But yeah, Blizzard's Supersofts, although he got ahead of both these cars at it, he's now dropped back down to 10th position. And Bugatti, well, he has been caught by Lickle and Ash Best, and well, out of all the Supersoft runners in the top 7, he's struggling the most, no doubt about it, as Plexix gets ever closer to the top 5.
Yeah, Plex getting really quick now. He's looking really good, and Lickle and Ash know they need to make light work of these guys to get closer to Plex. And now, and Lickle goes really wide there, but he's going to keep it on the road and stay ahead and get that move done on Bugatti, as Bugatti wants to fight it. And it won't be Lickle losing the rear end. Goodness me. Oh, this ain't dirt rally, mate. This is F1. Jesus, that was so close to a major crash there between Lickle and Bugatti. Lickle nearly losing the car, and Bugatti was probably going to end up having an aeroplane crash with him, but Lickle just about, in the most flamboyant way possible, moves up into P7, and Bugatti has to switch his attentions to Ash Best now, and the World Championship leader pulls alongside Bugatti and should easily complete that move on the run down to turn 1. We're going to go 3 wide here, because look at this, Bugatti ain't giving up. He's going through the middle of the pair of them. Can he do it? And Lickle, hung out to dry, loses out massively, and Ash is up to P7. Brilliant racing.
Oh, absolutely brilliant. And at the same time, Doom and Lewis went side by side into turn 1, and Lewis just about defending it off. But yeah, this has been absolutely brilliant so far. Just going back to Lickle around the end of sector 2, I don't know how he saved that. I mean, he was literally halfway into oblivion, but great control from Lickle Blocks.
Yep, and a good attempt up the inside as well on the brakes of Blizzard. And well, there's a lot of lag there. I can't quite tell if there was contact or not. It certainly looked like it on my screen, but that could just purely be down to the lag. It's Lickle. Oh, there might have been contact again, but again, I don't know. There's a lot of lag. But Lickle into the back there of Blizzard, it seemed, but didn't get any damage. And for the size of the hit, I'm surprised there's no damage, and that again suggests that lag might be playing a factor. So apologies if you're watching and lag is proving to be a real issue, as Bugatti is really beginning to struggle. Blizzard now, oh my goodness, Bugatti has a huge spin and is off the road, and several drivers had to take evasive action there, and Bugatti's tyres have, as they say, hit the cliff, haven't they?
Absolutely. And Lewis and Poe make contact in the final corner. And the Haas of Lambo has to take avoiding action, so Lewis has wing damage.
Yep, and so does Poe. Both cars with damage, and Poe is slowing right down on the way into the pits. I'm not sure why. So I only caught the tail end of it there. Can you maybe describe what you saw?
Well, just all I saw was they go around the final corner, and there was this contact between the two. So I don't know if someone had a half spin and that caused contact, but I didn't see that. But Pletix is now up to second, fighting with Lambo, who's opted to stay out in the Supersource for an extra lap. He seems to kept better life in them actually than some of the runners ahead of him.
Yep, as has Doom. So he and Doom and Blizzard still out there on their super soft tyres, and yep, I think we were slowly beginning to find out that we're very near the cliff on the likes of Lewis and on the likes of Bugatti, because the rear ends were sliding all over the place, and who knows, that might have played a factor in his accident with Poe. But Lewis here, the world champion, not getting his season off to the best possible defence, is he?
No, he's not, and he's, because of that wing change, he's lost nearly 9 seconds to KB Killer, and they both pitted at the same time. So, well, it's going to be a tall order for Lewis to get onto the podium now, let alone good points.
Yep, it's going to be an absolute nightmare, and he's put on a set of medium tyres, so he is intending the one-stop strategy. So he's done that. Cliffy came in quite early as well. He must be on a two-stop. He's gone into super softs. That was, I presume, down to wing damage as we watch Lickle dive up the inside of Blizzard and complete that move. The soft runners really are starting to enjoy themselves out there now. Oh, look at this. All the time you have to leave it the space. Goodness me. Blizzard up the inside of Lickle Blocks, and he's back through. Lickle Blocks gave him the squeeze. Blizzard didn't care. He drove off the track like Rosberg and Alonso did all those years ago in 2012, and he gets the move done. Back ahead of Lickle, but here comes Lickle once again. And look at It's Me picking up the double toe. We're going to be 3 wide on the brakes in a turn 1. Look how close that is. Lickle Blocks on the inside. Outside goes It's Me, right round the outside of the pair of them. What a stunning move from the Force India driver. The Pink Panther scampers up into P4 with one of the best moves I've ever seen. But Lickle Blocks makes sure it's short-lived, dive back up the inside and retakes the place. It's Me now under real threat from Blizzard, but what an initial move that was from It's Me right round the outside, Alimonda.
That, I think for a few moments before Lickle died back down, he must have been grinning from ear and Tasta.
Yep, I barely caught what you said there. It was lagging like crazy. I hope people heard you in the stream there, but just repeat what you said in case they didn't.
Well, I was just saying It's Me was grinning from ear to ear for a few moments after that move before Lickle died back down the inside of him. But just Lambo has done a really good job actually to get those super softs over 8 laps. Well, actually 9 laps if he hits on this lap. So the one stop may well be possible for him. He's looked over his sides very well, and he's only less than a second behind the leading soft runner. So he's not out of it yet.
He's done such a great job to still be clinging on to Plexits, to be honest. That's very impressive. As It's Me wants to come back for more on Lickle Blocks, but I have to say that was one of the best moves I've ever seen from It's Me. But he's going to come back for more. Lickle Blocks spare these blushes up at turn 4. Is It's Me going to regain the advantage for who? Lambo.
Puncher for Blizzard. He's gone too far. Rear left. Rear right has gone, and he is dropping all the way down. Luckily, he's fairly close to the pit lane, but yeah, he's lost so much time. And he is more than likely out of the running for the victory, and let alone points at this stage.
Yep, well, Blizzard involved that. He's dropping down, he's still into his chances are gone. And, well, who else is out there at the moment? Blizzard's left the section as we just everywhere we look at the moment, there's action. And who's that? That's Matt Tibos doing battle with Calic for P8 and 9. Calic, another driver that was featuring near the front of the order last week in Melbourne before it all went pear-shaped. He's had a quiet race so far down in P9 on the soft tyres. Not had the most spectacular opening stint to his race, as he's got several drivers in front of him on softs as Killer Zone dives up the inside into P9 ahead of him, and he's now a full pit stop ahead of him in his Killer Zone on his mediums, and Killer Zone is doing pretty well, isn't he?
He's doing very well. Well, Kalek is actually really compromised because according to him he had a default setup available, so he's going to be really struggling on the straights because the default setup isn't really quick enough in terms of the downforce. Yep,
absolutely. Yeah, it's not, so we'll see how it goes, but got to look at that leading 6, you could say, or the leading 2, I would think. They look like the ones that are most likely to take this to Killer Zone, don't they? Plex and Ash. And Killer Zone probably will have the advantage right away, but as his tyres start to wear, Plex and Ash will surely start coming back at him. So I think that's going to be one to watch as well, isn't it, towards the end of the Grand Prix. As we watch Killer Zone make his move, as CC Brain comes into the pits, Killer Zone dives through up into P7 ahead of Matt Tibos, who we have barely mentioned. He's on a medium tyre. He's going very, very long into this race, isn't he? He'll be going to around lap 20, I would have thought.
Yes, I think so. And Kalek got the team order from Sauber, letting Joom pass on the straight. So Joom, giving chase to KB Killer, he's going to have slightly better tyre life at the end.
Yep, absolutely. So Joom versus Killer Zone is probably the battle on that particular strategy. And then they're going to meet in the middle with the likes of Plex, Ash, Lickle, It's Me, LMC Hamilton and Frisky CJ. Those leading the 6 on the soft compound tyre. I believe someone else came in on that lap. CC Brain, he came in from that top 6 to go into the medium tyre. So he's one of the earlier ones to come in and fit mediums of the soft runners. I'm interested to see how much further these soft runners choose to go, Alimonda. What do you think?
I don't think they'll be going too much further, so I think they'll probably be going to around, somewhere between 13 to 16. But I'd think they'll be pitting to make this one-stop work, otherwise they'll lose too much time.
Yeah, we'll wait and see when they decide to come in, as Lewis is now looking pretty close to Cliffy. Cliffy is on a totally different strategy from anyone else. He's on a 2-stop. I don't know why Cliffy was in very early. Can you remember why he was in so early? Little block was in?
He may have, I think he may have had wing damage, and I think CC Brain might have had damage as well, because he came in from 7th and he's dropped all the way down to 18th, miles behind Poe. So he's had a problem somewhere. It's, I thought he was going to come out somewhere where Lewis was, to be honest.
So I'm a bit surprised there as to what's happened for those guys. So not good at all. As into the pits comes Cliffy, and I presume he'll fit a set of mediums and go to the end. He will. So Cliffy not having an enjoyable afternoon at all. We'll probably drop down to near enough the back of the pack. Well, Cliffy, as he makes his stop, as Lewis now moves up into the top 10. He's done 4 laps on those mediums, and I have to say, Lewis is really going to struggle to get those mediums to the end of the Grand Prix. He, Killerzone, Nowek, TTGP Pole, I think those guys are all going to be really struggling to get them to the end, but if they can manage it, we have half a chance of picking up a solid result. But at the moment, Frisky CJ and P5 have been quite threatening on the back of LNC Hamilton in that leading 5 on the soft compound.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned Frisky much so far, but yeah, he's putting Hamilton under pressure. But you know, he's losing considerable time to KB Killer. KB Killer's taking about a second out of Frisky each lap on those fresh mediums. So, but I think by the time KB Killer catches the 5 soft runners in front of him, I think they would have all pitted by then, to be honest.
Well, how do you read it at the moment, Alimonda? Do you think KB Killer's in the box seat? Do you think Plex and Ash are in the box seat? As they all come in now, all 5 of them have decided at the end of lap 12 is the optimum time to come into the pits and fit a set of medium tyres. So this will begin the chase. The 5 runners all coming in. Where will they be as well in relation to Lickle Blocks, who come in very early? Where is he going to be in relation to the likes of Ash and Plex? There's about 4.5 seconds between Lickle and Ash, I believe. So this could be a little bit closer, because Lickle's gone an extra lap or 2, and he's going to be side by side with It's Me on pit exit. And is he going to go round the outside of It's Me and hold on? Oh yes, he is. And Lickle just about gets ahead of It's Me into turn 1, and is in P8. So everyone has now been in the pits at some point, apart from Matt Tibos, I believe, and I think that's it.
Yes, that's right, and Joom just got past Matt Tibos, and he's now 1.3 seconds behind KB Killer. So there is sort of one battle for the lead at the moment, but then all of those who've just pitted for the medium compounds, they haven't done any laps on them yet, and they will come back as the race goes on. It's going to be cut and go for Joom and KB Killer. They're going to have to do some tyre saving, otherwise they probably won't get a puncher, but they're not going to have any tyres left really to fight with at the end.
And how do you feel about Lambo? I mean, he's done 3 laps, he's done 2 laps less than Killerzone, 1 lap less than Joom. He's sort of in the middle of the road between the 2 options, isn't he? He's like halfway towards Lickle in terms he's two laps younger, and he's 2 laps older than 2 laps older than Lickle and 2 laps younger than KB Killerzone. So Lambo's sort of in the middle of the road, isn't he, with that strategy? Let's see how it pans out for him as well.
Yes, it's looking good for Lambo actually. Pletix, you know, his strategy was going really well so far, but now unfortunately he's got a certain reigning champion right behind him, which could cost him quite a bit of time if he's battling hard in. Lewis is looking good to pass him for 5th. Well,
that's strange, because there's a 5-lap difference in the tyres, so I'm a bit surprised by this, but Lewis, the reigning champion that he is going to come up the inside on Plex in a turn 1, and is he going to make it stick? I think he is going to make it stick. Plex will fight it hard on the exit, because he does have those fresher tyres. It wouldn't be easy for Lewis in the traction zones, and Plex proves that, and he pulls back alongside, and is he going to hold on to that position? Look at Lewis rubbing wheels with him. This is crucial, and this is helping those guys out at the front in the field who are on the same strategy as Lewis. It's giving them a bigger chance of getting to the end and surviving in the lead. But look at this, Lewis and Plex knocking lumps out of one another, and Lewis is back through. Plex coming back again, and they touch on the run down towards turn 9, and Plex looks to have held on, but Ash is gaining and gaining and gaining as Lewis finally gets the move done up the inside, and Ash is right on Plex's tail.
Yeah, this little battle may have just put Ash Best back into the game, at least for a podium. Oh, Pletix, this is not ideal for him at all. He's lost a lot of time, but a fantastic battle between these 2.
Yep, it really is a brilliant battle, and I'm genuinely surprised that Lewis has got the pace on those mediums to ease past Plex. He might not have the pace at the end of the Grand Prix though, if the tyres get close to the cliff, as we saw at the end of the super soft stint. But at the moment, he's doing a fine job of helping out Killerzone and Joom out front, and there's only a second between those 2 as well. We need to keep an eye on that. Lickleblocks is also getting back into this fight with these guys battling, isn't he? He's only 1.6 behind the tail of these guys. Plex is going to have to get defensive here, but at the same time he's catching Lewis. Look at the closing speed on Lewis he's got. He's going to make a move on the outside. Ash Best with a watching seat, and Plex is surely not going to get round the outside of a world champion there, or is he? On the way up the hill, side by side, a drag race between the two, and Plex is off the road.
Plex is off. He's spun. Oh, and he's being collected by Lickle. Well, that might have been lag actually, but yeah, I think that was lag because Lickle got no damage, thankfully.
Must have been lag because if it wasn't, there would have been an airplane crash, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would have been pretty bad. But Pletix, he just sort of lost the car a little bit, and he's dropped down to 12th, and that's a shame because he had a really good burst in, but yeah, maybe, I don't know, maybe just fought a little bit too hard against Lewis, because I think Lewis was always going to have the corner into turn 4.
Yeah, and Lewis was always going to have the tyre issues later in the race as well, you could argue. So maybe it was panic stations didn't want to let him get away, but that's a shame because Plexit had driven such a good race up until that point. And I actually think the actual collision might have been a side pod glitch. You know that it didn't, in my screen it didn't look like there was any contact between the two, so a strange one there. And Plexus is now retired from the race, and that's a shame because he's been driving so well.
Yeah, he's he's collected a Force India just before the end of Sector 2. And yeah, Poe's just crashed himself out, so something happened between those two. Maybe it was lag, I'm not sure. But yeah, they're both out of the race.
Well, they're the first two retirements of the afternoon. It's been good. It's been a good race in terms of competitiveness, hasn't it? Everyone's been staying on the track, and now we've got Calic round as well, and in the wall at the same area of the racetrack. So Calic going for a spin and rejoining, having done.
Ash and Lewis, sorry to interrupt, but they are having a ding-dong battle in Sector 1.
Well, yep, so they are. Thank you for noting that. And Ash has gone ahead of Lewis, and with 5 lap younger tyres, he has got the job done. And at the moment, it looks like Ash, through all the chaos, is looking like the most likely man to take this race to Killerzone, Hume and Lambo, doesn't he? As he makes that move on Lewis and begins to move off into the distance.
Yes, indeed. He's 3.5 off Lambo. But yeah, I mean, Matt Tebos will be pitting, so at the moment, Ash is in a net 4th position. But yeah, he is probably the one driver he's got the freshest tyres out of the top 5. So those up ahead of him, they're going to have to be looking over their shoulders if he keeps up this pace anytime soon.
Yeah, and Lickleblocks will want to join him as well in the later stages of this race, and to do that, he will need to find a way back ahead of VSR Lewis. So battles everywhere to look at the moment. Will he get there? It's me, as another man doing a fine job. 2.5 seconds off this group at the moment. As we've got a yellow in Sector 1, why is that? I'm not sure. I'm trying to find it. I think it's Blizzard's car going slowly. But back to the battle between Ash and Lewis as they run down towards the first corner. Lickle in the background, just waiting in any incident that might occur. Lewis is not falling off the back of Ash the way you would expect him to, and he books very late and nearly collects the Renault and punts him into a spin there. That was so close, wasn't it?
Yeah, slight contact between Lewis and Ash Best, but I think it was literally on the limit. Lewis could have damaged his wing with a bit more speed. But yeah, Lewis is not letting him go, is he?
Yep, the world champion willing to fight his corner right to the end, but surely he's beginning to feel the pain of not trying to go for glory and not securing a run on the soft tyres at the start of this Grand Prix, because he's really starting to pay for it now. But on the flip side of the argument, Killerzone, Hume and Lambo might argue that case at the moment, because they're doing a fine job out there and they're holding a solid advantage over Ash and Lickle at the moment, the two closest drivers on the ultimate strategy.
Yes, absolutely. Well, at the moment, the gap between the top two is somewhat stabilised, but you know, I'm just going on board with them. They're not really pushing that hard on them, so you know, as we mentioned earlier, they do need to do a bit of tyre saving to keep some light to the end, just in case Ash Best can get back up to them.
We've got Sauber round, Sauber off the track as well there. I don't know who that was.
That's Calic, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Calic just lost control of the car out of that particular corner.
Yep, and he now joins Poe and Plex on the sideline. So Calic out of the Grand Prix as we watch Lewis get closer again to Ash, and Ash is still having to defend it. And nuisance that he doesn't need as Matt Tibbles comes in and fits softs. He's decided that is the better strategy. I'm not going to stay out here on these mediums until I can fit super softs. It'll be quicker to fit softs. So he rejoins the track in 11th and 5 seconds off a point. And he's got a real chance of getting a few points here, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Unfortunately, he just came out behind the Renault, so he's going to have to, because CC Brain is 8.5 seconds off Novak, although Novak might have to pit by the end, but actually 9 laps, I think he might be just about okay on that. So he's going to have to try and get past CC Brain as quickly as possible, and then try and get Novak the final points.
Yep, Novak, CJ, they're quite closely matched, as is Hamilton, so that little trio of drivers have a chance he could get up there and into maybe 8th position or something. We'll wait and see. But let's keep an eye on Little, Lewis and Ash, who are still all jostling for position for 4th, 5th and 6th at the moment. And with that pit stop from Matt Tibbers, there is no net changes in position. You have, as the order you see it now, is the order you will see, because they have all pitted. Every single driver has been in the pits in this race. It's KB Killerzone with that stabilised gap, as you mentioned, to Jim at around 1.2 seconds. Those guys started this race on the super soft tyre and went to mediums. It's what was perceived to be the slower strategy. The other man that did that, TTTG Lambo, another man on that strategy. The chasing pack of Ash and Lewis and Lickle. Now, Lewis also did that strategy, but Ash and Lickle, the closest challengers on the alternates, who are going soft to mediums, are trying to catch them down, and will slowly start to do so. Can they do it? We'll have to wait to see. Lewis takes a whole load of curb there, going through turn 1, and I thought for a moment Lickle was going to have a run on him, but unfortunately for the Ferrari driver, he doesn't and remains stuck in P6. But I'm actually interested here to see that Lewis isn't exactly being dropped by Ash, and I think that shows that because there's only 4 or 5 laps between the tyres, it's not that easy for Ash to catch this group in front of him, and it might be the case that these guys hold out.
Yes, I mean, these mediums will go a long way. It's just more the ultimate life of them. Yeah, Lewis is, shall we say, using up his 9 lives a little bit in terms of his front wing. He's made light contact with Ash Best several times now. Turn 1 previous time made contact running over the curbs, so many more times than that he will lose a bit of his front wing, and you know, losing downforce here is an absolute disaster.
Yeah, as it is on tracks, and look at Lewis, he's right behind Ash now, he's basically pushing him. It's quite incredible that he's still clinging on. And the top 3, well, they're slowly being wheeled in. The gap's around 13 seconds to the lead at the moment. They're going to have to start taking some serious time out of those guys if this trio want to go on and have a chance of winning this Grand Prix. Ash Best is now 2.4 seconds by TTTG Lambo. The 3 of them are catching him quite quickly, and Lewis is now going to have to switch his attention to this Ferrari behind, because Lickle has got a real run. And is he going to dive late up the inside? No, he's not. He takes better of it and stays in P6 as Lewis is basically pushing Ash through the corners, and as you say, really using up those 9 lives on that front wing, isn't he?
He is, and you know, they're using up the battery as well. Lickle's doing a better job with the battery.
He is doing a slightly better job as Lickle. Not interested in using it up at the moment. I think we're just waiting for the moment Lewis's tyres fall off the cliff, and they're just going to quite happily catch the top 3 as a group, to be honest, because I think that would be the most sensible thing to do. We've not really seen any overtakes between these guys in the last couple of laps, and I think that's probably the smartest thing to do, isn't it?
Yes, I think so. Well, Joom has increased the pressure on KB the last few laps. He's been 3/10 quicker the last 3 laps, but you know, he's not quite able to get into that kill zone in terms of DRS, because KB is saving his battery pretty well to save it for that main straight. But you know, still quite a few laps to go.
Now 12.9 seconds between 4th and 1st, and it's not really coming down at all, which is very, very surprising. It won't really come down, you would feel, until the medium tyres start to get towards the braking point, and that maybe is when Ash and Lickle will start making their progress. And at the moment it's not working for them, as Jung really is continuing to pressurise. He's 7/10 behind. We'll go to that in a moment as we watch once again the 3 drivers, Ash, Lewis and Lickle, all jostling down to turn 1. Is Lickle having a look again? I tell you who is having a look. Lewis is on the inside of Ash, and they're losing time by doing this. And on the exit of the corner, Lewis going down the outside. They're touching and touching and touching. Training pain on the run down towards turn 4. Is Lewis going to try and go round the outside of Ash Best? He tries, but he can't, and Ash clings on. And what a job Lewis is doing on 13 lap old mediums.
He certainly is, but they were catching Lambo quite quickly, but they lost half a second in that one sector doing all that battling. So Lambo still looking good for a podium at the moment.
Yeah, Lambo doing well. The gap ain't coming down. It's just staying at around 2.3 seconds. So the gap continues as it is, as we have to go now to German Killzone. We've not seen much of them in recent laps, but as you alluded to, he is starting to apply some pressure, turning the screw, asking the McLaren driver a few questions. They've got 10.4 seconds of a cushion to Lambo behind, but he's not really the main threat. It's Ash behind that with Lewis and Lickle, but it's becoming less of a threat as the laps go by because they're not really making any inroads on the top two. Across the line they go to start lap 22, and June's getting closer, isn't he?
He's getting closer and closer. I think he's saved his tyres a little bit better than the McLaren driver. But yeah, Lewis even closer to Ash's best this time. So he hasn't dropped back like I expected him to, given that he has, you know, done many more laps on those mediums.
Oh, look at that. Ash felt they need to defend on the inside in the turn one, and this is not helping their race towards the podium places. It's only compromising them, and Lewis was squeezed out there, and now Lickle senses the opportunity. He's going to try and dance down the outside on his fresher tyres, 4 laps fresher than Lewis. Is he going to go steaming right round the outside? He should now have the traction he needs, but still Lewis holds on, and Lickle is stuck in P6, a frustrated figure, and at the moment they just cannot catch Lambo, and their battle is allowing the top 3 to seal their position on the podium at the moment, and with 7 laps to go they are not making any serious dent at all, which is really disappointing from their point of view, isn't it?
No, it really is. Well, you know, Lambo is currently second in the standings, but he's going to be, you know, gaining some points on Ash best as it stands. But Joom is really looking quick now. He's now sort of in that slipstream zone, so this could be the first time as we go to the end of lap 22 where he gets a real chance to get into that kill zone and go for a move. Yep,
I love that lovely little pun there. As we come across the line, can Joom get that move as he's now half a second behind as he opens up the DRS? He's got 68% of his battery to use up. He's still in mode 0 coming down into turn 1. He doesn't feel as if that was a real chance to make a move. What about on the run up to turn 4? He stays in mode 0 for now. Is he now going to go up and flick it into overtake? He's in mode low. He's not interested in doing it. Surely that can't be right. Surely he's in mode 4. Why would you not be to get that move done on Killzone? He's just waiting for the moment, isn't he?
Oh, well, I know exactly what Joom's doing. He's bluffing. What he's doing, he's putting his ERS in 0, and he's basically getting KB Killer to waste his battery so he can reserve all that battery power for the closing laps. That is a clever strategy if that's what he's doing.
He's trying to do it, but I think Killerzone's also employing that strategy. He's got 70% of his battery and is also in mode 0, so strange, but it's working as Ash has got dropped back to 6th now, and Lickle has somewhere on the road got himself back up to P5 and Lewis up to P4. So with these guys battling, they've pretty much sealed their fate already, I would think, and the top 3 looking pretty safe.
Yeah, absolutely. But look, within 2 tenths now, Joom, this is going to the wire, this battle for lead, because they're on. It might be a question of who saved their tyres a little bit more when they were sort of stabilised, you know, a couple of seconds between them. So, oh, this could be a fantastic end to the battle, and I think Lickle still has a shot at getting 4th at least. Yeah, well, look at this. He's gone up into mode 3 now. This is the moment. Joom senses a chance of getting onto the top step, and on lap 24 out of 29, he forces Killzone to go defensive on the inside. Joom on the outside. He should get a better exit out of turn 1 because Killzone had to take a tighter line, but somehow Killzone gets a fantastic drive and will cling on with ease on the way up the hill. Yeah, here comes Lickle on Lewis. Yep, there he goes. Lickle up the inside and ahead of Lewis into P4. So Lickle, can he finally end this long battle between those 3 and start chasing after the Haas of Lambo? It doesn't look like it. Lewis has been a firm thorn in his side all afternoon. Continues to fight it, but is this the moment Lickle starts to show his pace? Is this off? We'll find out as Lickle begins to put the power down. Yep. He's got 3 seconds of time to get to Lambo to get onto the podium. Not many laps to do it as well, so he's going to have to get a move on, but that's assuming he can break Lewis, who, despite being passed by Achapeso and now Lickle, he's been really good at just keeping within that 1 second. Oh, we just got a bit of snap of oats here coming out of turn 10, so yes, I don't know what's going on with Ashbest. Seems to have low battery as well, so maybe he's just pushed too hard in this second stint. Now he's having to conserve battery, and that's why he's dropping back. As it gets really close again between the top 2 and down towards
Turn 1 they go again. Mode 4, overtake mode for Jim as he gets closer and closer and closer to Killerzone, who defends right out towards the pit wall. Jim tries to have a little look up the inside. Killerzone ain't falling for that and continues to stay on that inside line on the exit of the corner. How is Killerzone getting that drive out of there? I'm absolutely gobsmacked as Lewis has made a call for the pits, Elimonda.
Yeah, well, maybe he felt, I mean, they are well warm, and maybe he fancies a shot at the fastest lap, but he's going to lose a bag of points, the reigning champion. But yeah, I think KB is placing the car beautifully on the main straight. There is literally nowhere to go on the inside, so June may have to think about a surprise move, maybe in the back straight DRS, or maybe even, you know, the end of sector 2 or the final back straight before the final corner. So he might have to think about something different. He's still got quite a few laps to go, but I don't think it's going to happen in turn 1.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see as I watch Cliffy and CC Brain doing battle in the most laggy way possible, and I think Cliffy's got the upper hand and moving ahead of CCC Brain. I'm going to stop watching this because it's impossible to make out what's going on with the lag. Apologies for that. Ash Pesto, P5 at the moment, and did something happen there? Why has he got Hamilton and It's Me right on him?
Yeah, I didn't actually see what happened when he lost the place to Lewis. I don't know, maybe there was contact or something. Well, June once again.
Yeah, he's right behind him, isn't he? And this time, surely he's got a chance. Killerzone is, you look at the overspeed, he's going to be passed before they get to turn 1. And is June finally going to crack and make the move step? Yes, he is. He's cracked the code. He's ahead of Killerzone into turn 1. And June, at long last, waited patiently for his moment. And the silver driver takes charge of the Bahrain Grand Prix with 3.5 laps to go. June takes the lead from Killerzone in second. And it was a brilliantly timed move. The ERS deployed was perfect. And he was ahead with ease in a turn 1, wasn't he?
It's just fantastic from June. It's like a master chess player. He's just been waiting for his moment to strike and make that checkmate move. But KB Killer, he's not going to give up this fight, but he has got 18 lap old mediums and less battery, so it's going to be really difficult for him to come back. And Lickle has close to him 1.3 seconds of Lambo, so he's still on for this fight for the podium. Just shows how much pace he has and how much time he lost behind Asbest and Lewis.
Yeah, Lambo, who was hoping for a second successive podium, it doesn't look likely anymore because Lickle has finally got the boot down. Is this the moment where the mediums start falling away? And another thing we have to remember, we've already seen a puncture in this race for a driver on super softs. Is there a certain, it's not even certain that the two leaders will get to the end with ease on their medium tyres. I mean, they've started battling now, and that could also hurt them, couldn't it?
Yes, absolutely. But June, he has put the motor up to 5. He's going for maximum attack just to try and break the DRS zone and maybe do some tyre saving at the end. I'm just not sure KB Killer's going to have any answer to this. He just won't have the tyre life. He won't have the battery compared to his rival ahead. So if he can come back and win this, that would be incredible because June has all the cards at the moment.
Yeah, relentless from June, relentless pressure, and then, as you say, like a professional chess player, picked his moment as Ash Best is just falling by the wayside, and he's now being overtaken by LMC Hamilton around the outside. Ash Best, I think, had a glimpse there of some slight front wing damage, and through goes LMC Hamilton up into P5. And look at that, once again, all the time you have to leave at this space as It's Me now attacks Ash Best up the inside of the turn 4, and is he through? Yes, he is, and the championship leader is dropping down the order. And is Lambo going to take a surprise lead in this championship? It looks like it at the moment.
Yes, I think as long as he actually, no, I don't think so, but I think he would close the gap to a couple of points, but that's assuming he can keep him on the podium because Lickle Blocks is now within DRS range.
Yep, Lickle is right there, 6 tenths between them. We'll see how that pans out. Killerzone 1.2 seconds the gap now. It's all about making sure those tyres get to the end for those guys now. That's quite simple. Will they get there? Will they not? We'll wait and see how it pans out for those guys. But Lickle Blocks, as you say, is right there. As Ash Best is coming back. It's Me again. They go side by side up the hill and on they go, and finally It's Me settles the debate and moves up into P6. So with that going on, what about Lewis? Currently the world champion is going to have 2 races gone without a point on the board, but that is about to change because he's all over Cliffy. And is he going to make a move on Cliffy very soon to move up into P10? I would think so, Alamundo.
Yeah, I'll certainly keep an eye on that, but Lickle ever closer now on the penultimate lap. Lambo's going to have to get some defending done, and June has broken the DRS zone, so KB Killer So, oh, Liquorblocks has lost it! Liquorblocks has lost it! Oh, I can't believe it!
Oh my goodness me.
Oh, that is
goodness.
unbelievable. The car just went away from him. The tyres just died on him, and that's it. Podium gone. Lambo will be in the top 3 for sure now.
Absolutely gutting for the Ferrari driver, as Lewis does now move up into the points regardless of whether he gets ahead of Cliffy or not. And I think he will get ahead of Cliffy pretty soon, but Lico has thrown away a hat full of points. He's thrown away a podium, and that's not what he wanted, as Lewis clips the back of Cliffy and nearly sends him into a spin. That was awfully close, and I think now Lambo might actually, no, he won't just get there yet, because Ash is still ahead of It's Me. He won't be able to make that change in the championship. If, and a big if, It's Me gets ahead of Ash again, they will be labelled on points, because that's a 7-point gain for Lambo, because he was second last week, Lambo, wasn't he? So.
Yes, he was. He's on 18 points. He is on for 28 points, and Ash Best will be a few points ahead of him. So yeah, there won't be a change of lead at the top at the moment. But June, 1 point last week in Australia, and he's about to get 25, putting himself right into the fight in the early championship standings. He's now 2.5 seconds. Oh, wait a minute. KB Killer's dropping really far. I think he's on his last legs on the tyres. That is a sign of that.
Yeah, maybe he's just trying to conserve and sure he doesn't get a puncture. But that's the only thing he can do, because he has the oldest tyres of anyone out there. 1 lap older than
Cliffy and Lewis.
Yep, the 2 old foes, the 2 ILR1 legends doing battle in a turn 1. It shouldn't really be a contest given the difference in the tyre life. And Lewis is through.
Yeah, a good move from Lewis there. But yeah, it's not been a good start for his season, but good thing there's a lot of races to go. Yeah, you seem to have lost your voice, Andy, there, but hopefully the stream can still hear it. Yeah, it seems like we've lost Andy's voice for a moment there. So yeah, Joom heading towards the final corner. And what a fantastic strategic performance from Joom. And he will take the Bahrain Grand Prix victory in ILR1. Maximum 25 points for him. KB Killer with a great effort, taking second place. And Lambo will put himself into contention for the early championship lead, but not quite taking it. On to the podium he goes. And Ash Best, despite the wing damage I believe he got, 4th place for him. Elemency Hamilton in 5th. It's Me in 6th. Well, he pulled off one of the moves of the race, so he's given us great entertainment today. Frisky in 7th. Nowek in 8th. And Lewis, the reigning champion, couldn't quite make the strategy work, but he gave us some good fun. Those battles with Ash Best and Lickle, for example. He finishes 9th and Clippy in 10th, but Lickle Blocks, well, he could have been arguably in contention for driver of the day, but he just completely lost it in sector 1, and he's thrown away a podium because he was rapidly catching Lambo. That was a pretty entertaining race we've just seen here in Inside Line Racing. Hopefully we'll get Andy back shortly for his just taking over lead there while he sorts out his mic. But yeah, so in the end the top 3 was a mixture of those who started on the Super Softs and those who started outside the top 10.
Can you hear me?
And I believe Andy is back in the commentary booth.
Yeah, I fell off my seat there. When did I cut out there? I don't even remember me cutting out. When did I cut out? I'm not sure when I cut out.
Well,
I'll cut out anyway.
Take us through the podium.
Yeah, yep. Oh well, there he is. Brendan Lee on the top step of the podium. I didn't know that was you, Jim. I didn't know you had a PlayStation, Brendan. But well done to Jim taking the victory here. Fantastic performance. And yeah, the championship looks wide open at the moment, with Lewis only getting 2 points from a possible 50 Alimonda. It's wide open. So many different drivers and so many different strategies. It's a real exciting season ahead, isn't it?
Oh yes, I mean, There was some great battling today. I think overall the racing was much more cleaner than Australia. We didn't get many major incidents. The only things we really saw were the likes of Liquid Blocks having unforced errors. Bugatti had an incident when the Supersofts died on him, and then Blizzard was caught up in an incident. But yeah, no, it's wide open. I think we're going to get many different race winners in ILR1 this season, no doubt about it, judging by what we've seen from the first 2 races.
Yeah, I have to totally agree with what you said there, but it's Jum who gets it and takes the victory. The Spaniard P1 with Killerzone second, Lambo with a second successive podium in third. Ash Best was fourth, he leads in the championship. LMC Hamilton is fifth. Sixth for It's Me, seventh for Frisky CJ. He was quiet all race, but he still got some decent points. Nowak was eighth, Lewis was ninth, and Cliffy got the final point in 10th. But Ali Monda, I've got to 100% agree with you in what you said there. It's going to be wide open all season. So many different men can win races, and I think it's going to be a question of consistency. And so far, Ash Best and Lambo have been the most consistent, even if they don't have the outright fastest pace over the whole, like against everyone else.
Yeah, completely agree. But the likes of Zoom have really put themselves up there. It's sort of 4 drivers at the top of the standings. And I have to mention Novak, because he had a first lap spin that put him down to 20th position. So the fact that he got back up to 8th was it went under the radar, but a very impressive drive for Novak to get back up to 8th after that first lap contact.
Yep, absolutely. So well done to Novak as well. We'll try and get the guys in for post-race interview. Let's see if we can get them in, Ali Monda. Have you got any of those guys in your friends list? Do you know any of them? Yeah, well, Zoom. I don't have Zoom on this. Do I have Lambo? I might have Lambo from last week. Do I? Okay. Yep, we'll try and get Zoom on board. Stay with us, folks, if you're watching. I hope you enjoyed that race. Also, I mean, I can't read the comments because my iPad's out of charge, but feel free to let us know who your driver of the day was. That's something we want to know about. I mean, if you've got the comments up, maybe you can see it, tell us what people are saying. But who was your driver of the day, Ali Monda? Who would you have went for?
Well, I'm gonna have to go with Joom, really. I just think the way he was sort of tactically putting KB under pressure, and he was on the right strategy as well. Had a bit more tire life at the end. KB Killer put on a fantastic display himself. It was a great battle for the lead, but I just think Joom slightly edged it today in terms of the overall performance.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. There was a lot of action going on throughout the field, but I mean, Lambo deserves a big special mention as well. Killerzone, of course, as well. Those 3 guys really did a great job hanging on in those tyres. They were helped a little bit with Lewis deciding to get involved with those guys on the alternate strategy, but they proved that strategy does work if you play it right. And I have to agree with you, Zoom, for the tactics, the way he played it, waiting for his moment to pounce and then pouncing and pulling away. He is also my driver of the day. So, who have we got in here so far? Have we only got Killerzone? Yes, we do. So, yep, only Killerzone. But we might as well have a quick word with Killerzone then. He's the only man who's decided to join us for the interview. But Killerzone, P2 today, arguably could have been a victory. Disappointed or satisfied? How are you feeling after that?
I'm actually just happy to finish because my tyres dropped off so much. That's why June managed to get by me. I had to drop off so much because it went up to near 90% at the end, so I was just happy to finish.
90%, goodness me. I'm amazed you never got a puncture. That is absolutely astounding, if I'm honest. But yeah, I take it you just eased right out of the throttle on that final lap. You did drop back quite a bit on that lap and just took it easy and made sure you made it to the end without any dramas.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Well, fantastic performance. Ali Monda, have you got any questions for Killerzone?
Yeah, so you qualified on the Supersofts. What was your thinking behind that?
Well, I done practice and I managed to bring the Supers 9 laps, so I figured mediums should go to the end easy. Especially when I seen like the likes of Louis and stuff going on Supers, I had to.
Okay, well, do you believe that was the better strategy? I mean, obviously, in the race, the way it panned out, different variables come along, don't they? But like obviously with traffic and things like that, do you believe that was the better strategy? I mean, you could argue the top 3 did that strategy, and that kind of proves the point. But I mean, so many people the other night on Xbox chose the other strategy. So, it's quite a strange one, Bahrain. It's still not conclusive as to what's the better way to go. I mean, do you feel as if you chose the right thing, or do you think you were really on the limit on tyres?
I feel if I was a bit more quicker over one lap, I definitely would have went for softs. I think they are the better strategy overall, but I didn't feel I had the one lap pace to get in the top 10 on softs.
Okay, well, I suppose that makes plenty of sense then. So that's why you did it. As we've lost Alimonda, I believe you'll be off to do some commentary for ILR, so that's fine. But yeah, congratulations, Killzone, on P2, and a very good job. So how do you feeling ahead of the championship then? That's just done 2 races. Do you feel as if you can compete for the title? Have you got that kind of pace over the course of the season to compete? Because right now, me and Alimonda were saying that we felt that anyone can win races in this tier. We saw it last week, this week again. It's so tight, it's so closely matched. I think it's a championship that could be won on consistency this season. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. Like last season, you could clearly see Louis was quickest, and it was all if he showed up who was going to win. But this season, literally anybody on the grid could win, so it's really exciting and it should be really good fun.
Do you think you're one of those men that can win?
Maybe, I don't know. If I need to get my strategy in order, maybe one lap pace as well, but hopefully, yeah. I'm aiming for top 3, so hopefully, yeah.
Well, plenty of top 3s should guide you towards the glory that you're looking for, because TTGG Lambo is second in the championship at the moment, and he has finished second and third in his 2 races till now, so he's looking pretty good in behind Ash Best at the moment. Those 2 have been proper consistent, and that explains why they are 1 and 2 in the standings. And you could argue they don't actually have the outright speed, and with Lewis with 2 points from a possible 50 is not the ideal defence to his title. So thank you very much to everyone for joining us, and thank you very much for Killzone for taking the time out to come in for the interview.
Yeah,
The
no
only
problem.
man that did. But yeah, thrilling season in store, and we head to China next. Be sure to join us next week at 5:30 for the Chinese Grand Prix at the Shanghai International Circuit. Should be another cracking race, and one that I'm really looking forward to. And will we at any point soon start to establish any sort of pattern as to who the main contenders in this championship are? At the moment, we have no idea, and we love it. It's unpredictable, it's brilliant, it's ILR1, and that's the way it goes. We'll see you again next week for the Chinese Grand Prix. Good night.